First contact. The Starship Horizon hung in orbit around the alien world, its sleek hull gleaming in the light of an unfamiliar sun. Inside the bridge, Captain Sarah Chen stood with her hands clasped behind her back, dark eyes fixed on the swirling azure and emerald sphere below. After years of searching, humanity had finally found what they'd been looking for: signs of extraterrestrial intelligence. Life signs confirmed, Captain, reported Science Officer Raj Patel from his station. Definitely artificial structures on the surface, but there's something odd about the energy readings. Chen turned to face him, one eyebrow raised. Odd how, Mr. Patel? Raj's brow furrowed as he studied his instruments. They're erratic, fluctuating wildly, almost as if their power grid is unstable. A civilization in trouble, mused Chen. She'd hoped for a triumphant first contact, but it seemed the universe had other plans. Prep a shuttle. We're going down there. As the landing party made final preparations, Chen briefed her team. Besides herself and Raj, she'd selected Security Chief Yuki Tanaka and xenolinguist Dr. Maria Vasquez. They'd trained for years for this moment, but Chen knew no amount of simulations could truly prepare them for the reality of meeting an alien species. The shuttle cut through wisps of lavender clouds as it descended towards the planet's surface. Chen felt a mix of excitement and apprehension coiling in her stomach. This was the moment that would change human history forever. They touched down on the outskirts of what appeared to be a sprawling metropolis. Crystalline spires reached towards the sky, connected by graceful arches that seemed to defy gravity. But even from a distance, Chen could see signs of trouble: flickering lights, plumes of smoke rising from several buildings. As they exited the shuttle in their protective suits, a group of aliens approached. Chen's breath caught in her throat at her first sight of them. Tall and slender, with iridescent skin that shimmered with patterns of light, they moved with an otherworldly grace. Their faces were vaguely humanoid, dominated by large, multifaceted eyes that regarded the humans with a mix of wariness and desperate hope. Dr. Vasquez stepped forward, her translator device at the ready. "We come in peace," she said, the words rendered in a series of musical tones by the device. "We are travelers from a distant world, seeking friendship and knowledge." The lead alien, its skin pulsing with swirls of blue and green, responded in its own melodic language. Chen watched Dr. Vasquez's face, seeing confusion, and then concern spread across her features as the translation came through. "Captain," Vasquez said, her voice tight. "They're asking for our help. Their world is dying." Over the next few hours, the situation became clearer. The aliens, who called themselves the Luminari, were facing an unprecedented crisis. The geomagnetic field that their technology relied upon was becoming unstable, causing widespread system failures. If the deterioration continued, their entire civilization would collapse. As Chen listened to their plight, she felt a deep sense of responsibility settle onto her shoulders. Humanity's first contact had become a rescue mission, but the Luminari regarded the humans with a mix of desperate hope and deep suspicion. Millennia of isolation had not prepared them for off-world visitors, especially not in their hour of need. "We have scientists, engineers," Shen offered. "We might be able to help stabilize your systems, at least temporarily." The Luminari leader, who had introduced himself as Zelix, fixed Chen with his mesmerizing gaze. "And what would you ask in return for this aid?" The translator rendered his musical tones into clipped, wary words. Chen straightened, meeting that alien stare. "A chance to learn, to understand your world, your people. We've dreamed of meeting other intelligent life for so long. We want to forge bonds of friendship and cooperation." Zelix conferred with his advisors, their skin flickering through a rapid sequence of colors that Chen suspected represented some form of emotion or communication. Finally, he turned back to the humans. "We cautiously accept your offer of assistance," Zelix said, "but know that we will be watching you closely. The survival of our people is at stake." As the teams began to work together, the cultural divide became starkly apparent. The Luminary's technology was so far beyond humanity's current understanding that Raj and the other scientists struggled to even grasp its basic principles. Meanwhile, the aliens viewed human tools and methods as hopelessly primitive. Frustrations mounted on both sides. More than once, Chen had to step in to smooth over misunderstandings and hurt pride. She could sense the Luminary's growing impatience, their fear that these strange off-worlders might not be able to help them after all. The turning point came when Raj made a breakthrough in understanding the complex interplay between the planet's magnetic field and Luminary tech. His excitement was palpable as he explained his findings to Chen. "Captain, I think I've figured out a way to temporarily stabilize their power grid," he said, eyes shining. "It's not a permanent solution, but it could buy us the time we need to work on something long-term." Chen nodded, hope rising in her chest. "Excellent work, Mr. Petal. Let's present this to Zalix and his team." But as they prepared to share their plan, alarms began to blare throughout the Luminary city. Chen watched in horror as the gleaming spires around them flickered and went dark. In the distance, a massive structure began to collapse. Zelix rushed towards them, his skin pulsing with alarmed crimsons and purples. "Our central power hub is failing," he said, the translator struggling to keep up with his rapid speech. "If it goes down completely, we lose everything." Chen locked eyes with Raj, seeing her own determination reflected there. This was the moment that would define humanity's first contact. Against all odds, they had to find a way to save this alien civilization. "Show us the way," Chen said to Zalix. "We'll do everything in our power to help." As they raced towards the failing power hub, Chen knew that the real test was just beginning. Human ingenuity was about to face its greatest challenge yet, with the fate of an entire world hanging in the balance. The quantum entanglement conundrum. As Captain Sarah Chen and her team raced towards the Luminary's failing central power hub, the alien cityscape around them pulsed with an eerie, desperate energy. The crystalline spires that had once shimmered with otherworldly beauty now flickered ominously, like dying stars in a collapsing universe. "We're approaching the quantum core," Zelix announced, his iridescent skin flashing with patterns of urgent crimson and electric blue. The translator struggled to keep up with his rapid, musical speech. "But I must warn you, what you're about to see defies your current understanding of physics." Chen exchanged glances with Raj. They'd prepared for the extraordinary, but the gravity in Zalix's voice suggested they were about to witness something beyond even their wildest expectations. As they entered the vast chamber housing the power hub, Chen's jaw dropped. At the center of the room hovered a swirling vortex of pure energy, tendrils of light spiraling outwards in mesmerizing patterns. It was as beautiful as it was terrifying. "By Einstein's ghost," Raj whispered, his scientific mind struggling to process what he was seeing. Is that a quantum singularity?" Zalix's multifaceted eyes reflected the pulsing light. "In your terms, yes. We harness the power of quantum entanglement on a planetary scale, but the field is destabilizing, threatening to tear our world apart at the subatomic level." The implications were staggering. The Luminary hadn't just mastered clean energy, they'd unlocked the fundamental forces of the universe itself, but now that mastery threatened to be their undoing. As Raj and the Luminary scientists huddled around holographic displays, frantically working to stabilize the quantum core, Chen noticed Dr. Vasquez staring intently at a series of glyphs etched into the chamber's walls. "Maria," Chen prompted, "what do you see?" The xenolinguist's eyes were wide with a mix of awe and dawning comprehension. "It's not just a language, Captain. It's a mathematical formula, the key to their quantum technology. And I think I'm starting to understand it." Before Chen could respond, a violent tremor shook the chamber. The quantum vortex pulsed, sending out a shockwave that knocked everyone off their feet. Warning sirens blared as cracks began to appear in the crystalline walls. "The containment field is failing," Zelix cried out, his skin flashing with panicked bursts of yellow and white. "If it collapses completely, the quantum backlash will rip apart the fabric of space-time itself. Chen's mind raced. They were facing a threat beyond anything humanity had ever encountered, a danger not just to this alien world, but potentially to the entire universe. Yet, as she looked around at her team, she saw not defeat, but determination. Raj was already elbow-deep in alien tech, his fingers flying over holographic interfaces as he worked alongside the Luminary scientists. Dr. Vasquez's lips moved silently as she continued to decipher the complex equations on the walls. And Yuki, ever vigilant, was helping evacuate non-essential personnel from the increasingly unstable chamber. A plan began to form in Chen's mind. It was risky, perhaps even insane, but it just might work. "Zelix," she called out, raising her voice above the growing chaos. "Your people can communicate through bioluminescence, correct? Over vast distances." The alien leader nodded, confusion evident in his swirling patterns. "Yes, but how is that relevant to our current crisis?" Chen's eyes blazed with determination. "Because we're going to create the biggest quantum transmitter this universe has ever seen. We're going to use your entire planet." What followed was a frenzied race against time. As the quantum core continued to destabilize, Chen outlined her audacious plan. They would use the Luminary's natural bioluminescent abilities, amplified by their advanced technology, to create a planet-wide quantum entanglement field. "If we can synchronize the quantum signatures of every luminary," Chen explained, her words tumbling out rapidly, "we might be able to create a stabilizing resonance with the core." Zalix's skin rippled with a mix of hope and skepticism. "But the energy required, it would push our bodies to the limit. Some might not survive the attempt." Chen met his gaze steadily. "I know I'm asking for an enormous sacrifice, but it's our best chance to save not just your world, but potentially many others." For a tense moment, Zalix was silent. Then, slowly, his skin began to glow with a soft, determined blue. "We will try." What happened next would be seared into Chen's memory forever. As the quantum core reached critical instability, every luminary on the planet joined in a synchronized bioluminescent pulse. The entire world lit up, visible even from orbit as a brilliant beacon of unified will. Chen and her team worked frantically to channel this massive energy, using the ancient mathematical formulas Dr. Vasquez had deciphered. Rage's modifications to the quantum core technology served as the linchpin, translating the Luminary's unified quantum field into a stabilizing force. The chamber shook violently. Equipment sparked and shattered. For one heart-stopping moment, Chen thought they had failed. But then, gradually, the chaotic swirl of the quantum vortex began to smooth out. The warnings fell silent. The tremors stilled. As the dust settled, Chen looked around in awe. They had done it. Human ingenuity and determination, combined with luminary wisdom and sacrifice, had quite literally saved a world. Zelix approached her, his skin glowing with a warm, grateful gold. "You have given us back our future," he said softly. "We misjudged you, Captain Chen. Humanity has proven itself to be not just intelligent, but wise and compassionate as well." Chen smiled, feeling the weight of the moment. This was more than just a rescue mission now. It was the dawn of a new era for humanity, for the Luminary, and for the universe itself. As she looked out over the alien city, now shimmering with renewed life and purpose, Chen knew that their greatest adventures were just beginning. The stars had never seemed so full of promise, the cosmic cipher. The days following the quantum crisis were a whirlwind of activity. As the Luminary worked to rebuild their world, Captain Chen and her team found themselves at the center of a cultural exchange unlike anything in human history. But amidst the excitement of new discoveries, a growing sense of unease gnawed at Chen's instincts. It all came to a head during a joint research session in the newly stabilized quantum core chamber. Dr. Vasquez was deep in conversation with a group of luminary linguists, her hands moving animatedly as she discussed the intricacies of their mathematical language. Suddenly, she froze, her eyes widening in shock. "Captain," she called out, her voice trembling. "You need to see this." Chen hurried over, followed closely by Raj and Zalix. "What is it, Maria?" The xenolinguist pointed to a complex series of glyphs scrolling across a holographic display. "I've been cross-referencing the luminary's quantum equations with our own astronomical data. This isn't just a formula for energy production. It's a map." Zalix's skin rippled with surprise. "A map? But of what?" "The universe," Vasquez breathed. "Or at least a significant portion of it. But here's the thing, it shows stellar configurations that shouldn't exist yet. Stars that haven't been born, galaxies in positions they won't reach for millions of years." Raj leaned in, his scientific curiosity piqued. "Are you saying this is some kind of future map?" "Not exactly," Vasquez shook her head. "The configurations are too random, spread across too many different time periods. It's more like a cosmic cipher," Chen finished, the implications hitting her like a thunderbolt. "This isn't just a map, it's a message." The chamber erupted into a flurry of activity as human and luminary scientists worked to decipher the hidden message. Hours stretched into days, with Chen barely leaving the facility, driven by a growing sense of urgency she couldn't quite explain. On the fifth day, as the twin suns of the luminary world set in a spectacular blaze of color, they finally cracked the code. The message, when revealed, sent a chill down Chen's spine. "Be the void. The DEVOURERS come." "What does it mean?" Zelix asked, his skin pulsing with concerned purples and greens. "Who are the Devourers?" Before anyone could respond, alarms blared throughout the facility. Raj rushed to a console, his fingers flying over the controls. "Captain, we're detecting massive gravitational distortions at the edge of the system. Something's coming through." Chen's mind raced. The message, the timing, this couldn't be a coincidence. "Battle stations," she ordered. "Zalix, is there any way to boost your planetary defenses using the quantum core?" The luminary leader hesitated for only a moment before nodding. "Yes, but it would require rewriting our core programming on a fundamental level. The risks are worth taking," Chen finished firmly. "Whatever's coming, I have a feeling we're going to need every advantage we can get." As the horizon moved into defensive position and the luminary prepared their world for a potential assault, a massive shake began to materialize at the edge of the system. It defied easy description, a writhing mass of dark energy, punctuated by flashes of sickly green light. It seemed to devour the very starlight around it, leaving an expanding void in its wake. "By all that's holy," Raj whispered, staring at the sensor readings. "It's consuming matter and energy on a quantum level. If that thing reaches any populated world..." The implications were too horrifying to contemplate. This wasn't just a threat to the luminary or humanity. This devourer was an existential threat to all life in the galaxy. Chen's hands clenched into fists. They were facing an enemy beyond anything they had prepared for, with technology they barely understood. The odds were stacked impossibly against them. But as she looked around at her team, human and luminary alike, she saw not fear, but determination. They had already achieved the impossible once. Perhaps they could do it again. "All right," Chen said, her voice steady despite the gravity of the situation. "We've got an ancient warning, a quantum core of unimaginable power, and two species who've already proven they can work miracles together. Let's show this devourer what we're made of." As the dark mass approached, casting an ominous shadow over the luminary world, Chen couldn't help but feel that this was the moment everything had been leading to. The fate of not just two species, but countless civilizations across the cosmos hung in the balance. With a shared nod of understanding, human and luminary alike turned to face the oncoming storm. The greatest challenge of their lives, perhaps of any life in the universe, was about to begin. The devourer loomed ever closer, its unfathomable form seeming to warp the very fabric of space around it. Chen watched from the bridge of the horizon, her mind racing through potential strategies, each seeming more desperate than the last. "Captain," Raj called out, his voice tense. "I'm detecting some kind of frequency emanating from the entity. It's like nothing I've ever seen before." Chen's eyes narrowed. "Can you isolate it?" Reg nodded, his fingers flying over the controls. A moment later, a haunting, discordant sound filled the bridge. It was like a twisted symphony, beautiful and terrifying in equal measure. Suddenly, Dr. Vasquez gasped. "Wait, this isn't just noise. It's similar to the mathematical language of the Luminary. I think it's trying to communicate." A wild idea began to form in Chen's mind. "Zalix," she called out to the Luminary leader, who stood watching the approaching horror with his skin flickering in muted tones of fear and resolve. "You said your quantum core could be reprogrammed. What if we used it to translate this signal, to talk back?" Zalix's multifaceted eyes widened. "Communicate with the Devourer? But why? How could we possibly reason with such an entity?" "Maybe we can't," Chen admitted. "But right now, understanding our enemy is our best shot at finding a way to stop it." What followed was a frantic race against time. As the Devourer drew ever nearer, human and Luminary scientists worked in perfect synchronicity, their earlier misunderstandings forgotten in the face of this cosmic threat. They repurposed the planet-wide quantum network, turning the entire Luminary world into one massive transmitter and receiver. Dr. Vasquez's linguistic expertise, combined with Raj's quantum engineering and the Luminary's advanced technology, created a system that could potentially translate the alien signal into something comprehensible. As the final calibrations were made, an eerie silence fell over the control room. Chen took a deep breath, steeling herself for whatever was to come. "Initiate the transmission," she ordered. The quantum core pulsed with blinding light. The entire planet seemed to hum with energy, and then slowly, a response began to form on their screens. The message, when fully translated, was both awe-inspiring and terrifying. "We are the end and the beginning. All energy returns to us. All material is ours to UMMAK. We are NTOPYNCARNAT." Chen felt a chill run down her spine. They weren't dealing with a mere alien threat. This was a force of nature, as implacable and unstoppable as time itself. But as she looked around at the determined faces of her crew and their Luminary allies, she felt a spark of hope. They had unraveled the mysteries of quantum entanglement. They had deciphered cosmic ciphers left by ancient civilizations. Surely, there had to be a way to overcome even this. "Keep the channel open," Chen commanded. "We need to know everything we can about what we're facing." As the exchange continued, a plan began to form, one so audacious, so potentially catastrophic, that it bordered on madness. But in the face of universal extinction, even madness started to look like a viable option. Chen turned to her assembled team, human and Luminary alike. "I have an idea," she said, her voice steady despite the weight of what she was about to propose. "But I'll need every one of you to pull it off. The risks are enormous, and I won't order anyone to participate." Zalix stepped forward, his skin glowing with a determined blue. "Whatever you plan, Captain, know that the Luminaries stand with you. We face this threat together." One by one, the others nodded their agreement. In that moment, Chen felt a surge of pride and hope unlike anything she'd ever experienced. Two species, strangers just days ago, now united in the face of cosmic annihilation. As Chen began to outline her desperate gambit, the Devourer loomed ever closer, its writhing form beginning to eclipse the twin suns of the Luminary world. The fate of the universe hung in the balance, with humanity and their new alien allies standing as the last improbable line of defense against the encroaching void. The stage was set for a confrontation that would echo across the cosmos for eons to come. The question was, Could the combined ingenuity and courage of two young species possibly be enough to stop the unstoppable? The Quantum Gambit. Captain Sarah Chance stood at the heart of the Luminary's quantum core chamber, surrounded by a dizzying array of holographic displays and pulsing energy fields. The air crackled with tension and possibility as human and Luminary scientists worked in perfect harmony, their earlier differences forgotten in the face of cosmic annihilation. Status report, Chen barked, her eyes never leaving the central display showing the Devourer's inexorable approach. Raid's fingers danced over a crystalline control panel, his brow furrowed in concentration. The quantum harmonizer is at 87% synchronization, Captain. We're pushing the laws of physics to their breaking point, but it's holding for now. Dr. Vasquez chimed in from her station, where streams of alien code flowed across multiple screens. Translation matrix is stable. We're maintaining communication with the entity, but, she hesitated, a flicker of fear crossing her face. Its responses are becoming increasingly erratic. I'm not sure how much longer we can keep it talking. Chen nodded grimly. Every second they bought was crucial to their insane plan. She turned to Zalix, the Luminary leader's skin rippling with a complex tapestry of colors that betrayed both fear and determination. "Are your people ready?" she asked softly. Zalix's multifaceted eyes met hers, and he gave a solemn nod. Every Luminary on the planet is linked into the quantum network. We stand ready to make the ultimate sacrifice if necessary. Chen felt the weight of that commitment settle onto her shoulders. The plan they had concocted was beyond dangerous, it was potentially catastrophic. But facing the cosmic horror of the Devourer, it was their only hope. "Initiate Phase 1, Chen ordered, her voice steady despite the maelstrom of emotions churning inside her. Instantly, the quantum core pulsed with blinding energy. The entire planet seemed to hum with power as every Luminary joined their consciousness into a vast, planet-wide quantum entanglement field. It was a feat of collective will that defied human understanding. On the main view screen, the Devourer's writhing form seemed to pause, as if sensing the shift in energy. Its next transmission sent chills down Chen's spine. "Curious. You raid shape you are SALVS to MATCHATE our resonancy. But you cannot be so many related we are. All worry to as to void." "That's what you think," Chen muttered under her breath. She raised her voice, addressing her team and their Luminary allies. "Phase 2. Execute now." What happened next would be debated by physicists and philosophers for centuries to come. The Luminary, their billions of minds unified through quantum entanglement, reached out to touch the very fabric of spacetime. Guided by the mathematical precision of human science and the intuitive mastery of Luminary quantum manipulation, they began to weave a cosmic tapestry of unimaginable complexity. Reality itself seemed to warp and bend around the planet. Stars flickered in and out of existence. Time flowed like water, speeding up and slowing down in localized eddies of temporal distortion. "My God," Raj breathed, staring at his readings in awe. "We're creating a quantum mirror universe. A perfect reflection of our reality, but with reversed entropy." Chen allowed herself a grim smile. It was working. They were doing the impossible, creating a miniature universe with fundamental laws diametrically opposed to their own. A universe where the arrow of time pointed backwards, where order spontaneously arose from chaos. The perfect trap for a being of pure entropy. But the Devourer was not so easily fooled. As the quantum mirror universe took shape, the cosmic entity's form began to twist and contort, fighting against the pull of this new reality. Cleaver mites, its transmission boomed, shaking the very foundations of the chamber. "But we are B1 such TURCKs. We are inevitable." Tendrils of void stuff lashed out, tearing holes in the delicate quantum construct. Alarms blared as systems began to overload. "The field is destabilizing." Raj shouted over the din. "We can't hold it." Chen's mind raced. They had known this was a possibility, which meant it was time for the most dangerous part of their plan, the part she had hoped they wouldn't need. "Zelix," she called out, locking eyes with the Luminari leader. "It's time." Understanding passed between them. Zelix's skin rippled with a complex pattern that Chen had come to recognize as a mix of fear, resolve, and trust. "May the stars guide your path, Sarah Chen," Zelix said solemnly. Then, to his people, "Initiate the sundering." What happened next defied description. Every luminary on the planet, their minds still linked in that vast quantum network, reached out not just with their technology, but with the very essence of their being. They offered up their consciousness, their very souls if such things existed, as the final component in their desperate gambit. The quantum mirror universe flared with newfound power, stabilized by the willing sacrifice of billions, and at its heart, a singularity formed, a cosmic plug hole, drawing in entropy itself. The Devourer roared its defiance, a sound that echoed across dimensions. It thrashed and fought, but the pull was inexorable. Slowly, agonizingly, the cosmic horror began to be drawn into the quantum trap. "It's working," Raj yelled, his voice filled with equal parts elation and disbelief. "The Devourer's mass is decreasing. It's being absorbed into the mirror universe." But victory, it seemed, would not come without cost. As the last tendrils of the Devourer vanished into the singularity, reality itself began to buckle. The quantum mirror universe, sustained by the collective will of the Luminari, started to collapse. "We have to shut it down," Dr. Vasquez cried. "If that singularity destabilizes in our universe, it could tear a hole in spacetime itself." Chen knew she was right, but the decision she had to make was unthinkable. "If we close the portal now," she said, her voice hoarse, "we'd trap the Luminari consciousness in there with the Devourer. We'd be condemning them to an eternity fighting that thing." Zadix's holographic form flickered before her, his expression serene despite the chaos around them. "It was our choice, Captain. Our gift to the universe. Let us make it count." Tears stung Chen's eyes as she gave the order. "Close the portal. End the experiment." With a final, reality-bending flash, the quantum mirror universe winked out of existence. The Devourer was gone, trapped in a pocket dimension where its entropy would be eternally balanced by the sacrifice of the Luminari. As emergency systems kicked in and the quantum cores slowly powered down, Chen looked out over the now silent Luminari world. The crystalline spires stood empty, the entire species having given up their physical forms in that final, noble act. But even as grief threatened to overwhelm her, Chen noticed something extraordinary. Motes of light, like fireflies made of pure energy, began to coalesce in the air around them. They swirled and danced, forming complex, beautiful patterns. Dr. Vasquez gasped. "Captain, I think it's them. The Luminari. They've transcended physical form." As if in response, one of the lights floated towards Chen, hovering before her. In that moment, she felt a sense of gratitude, of joy, and of infinite possibility that nearly brought her to her knees. Raj, tears streaming down his face, summed it up perfectly. They did it. They found a way to exist as pure quantum energy. They're free. As Chen watched the lights, the ascended Luminari, dance across the alien sky, she knew that the universe would never be the same. Humanity had faced its greatest challenge, and through cooperation, sacrifice, and sheer audacity, had triumphed. The Devourer was defeated, the Luminari were transformed, and the cosmos itself seemed to hum with new potential. "Send a message to Earth," Chen said softly, her eyes never leaving the wondrous display above. Tell them everything. It's time for humanity to take its place among the stars." As the Horizon prepared to return home, carrying news that would reshape human understanding of the universe, Chen couldn't help but smile. Their adventure, it seemed, was only just beginning. The cosmic renaissance. The return journey to Earth was unlike anything Captain Sarah Chen and her crew had ever experienced. The horizon's hull hummed with residual quantum energy, a parting gift from the ascended luminary. As they traversed the vast expanse of space, Chen couldn't shake the feeling that they were being watched, not with malice, but with a sense of profound curiosity and kinship. "Captain," Raj called out, his voice tinged with awe. "You need to see this." Chen made her way to the science station, where Raj was staring at a holographic display with wide eyes. What she saw took her breath away. The stars were changing. Cosmic phenomena that should have taken millennia were unfolding before their eyes. Nebulae coalesced into vibrant star nurseries. Ancient red giants collapsed and rebirthed as dazzling white dwarfs, and weaving through it all were streams of quantum energy, reminiscent of the ascended luminary. "It's as if the entire universe is waking up," Dr. Vasquez whispered, her linguistic mind struggling to find words to describe the indescribable. Chen nodded, a lump forming in her throat. The Devourer's defeat. It must have triggered some kind of cosmic rebalancing. As they approached the outskirts of the Sol system, the horizon's long-range sensors picked up something unexpected, a massive gathering of ships in high Earth orbit. "Are we under attack?" Security Chief Tanaka asked, her hand instinctively moving to her weapon. But Chen shook her head, a smile playing at the corners of her mouth. "No, I think we're being welcomed home." As they drew closer, they realized the truth was far more extraordinary. The assembled fleet wasn't just human vessels. There were ships of designs they had never seen before, some crystalline and organic, others seeming to bend light around them in impossible ways. A transmission crackled through, filling the bridge with a familiar voice. Admiral Zhang, Chen's mentor and the architect of humanity's deep space exploration program. "Welcome home, Horizon." Zhang's voice was thick with emotion. You've got a lot of beings very eager to meet you." Chen's jaw dropped. "Admiral, are those?" "Yes, Captain," Zhang confirmed. "In the weeks since your encounter with the Devourer, we've been contacted by no less than 50 alien civilizations. It seems your actions out there didn't just save us, they opened the floodgates of the cosmos." The next few hours were a whirlwind of activity. The Horizon docked with a massive space station that had seemingly sprung into existence since their departure. As Chen and her crew stepped onto its gleaming deck, they found themselves in the middle of what could only be described as an interstellar summit. Beings of every conceivable shape and form milled about, some humanoid, others defying easy categorization. There were entities of pure energy, crystalline intelligences, and even what appeared to be sentient gas clouds. Admiral Zhang approached, flanked by a diverse group of alien dignitaries. "Captain Chen," he said formally, though his eyes twinkled with pride. "On behalf of Earth and the newly formed Galactic Concord, I welcome you and your crew home." Chen's head spun. Galactic Concord. A being that looked like a shimmering, multi-armed cephalopod floated forward. When it spoke, its voice resonated directly in Chen's mind. "Your actions have ushered in a new age of cooperation and enlightenment," it explained. "The defeat of the Devourer was felt across the cosmos. Many of us had hidden ourselves away, fearing its inevitable approach. But you, humans and Luminari together, showed us that unity and sacrifice could overcome even the most ancient of horrors." Another alien, this one appearing as a swirling vortex of iridescent mist, chimed in. "The ascension of the Luminari has triggered a quantum awakening across the galaxy. New pathways of communication and travel are opening up. We stand on the brink of a cosmic renaissance, and we have you to thank for it." Chen felt overwhelmed. What had started as a simple exploration mission had turned into this, the dawn of a new era for not just humanity, but all sapient life. "What happens now?" she asked, looking from face to alien face. Admiral Zhang smiled. "Now, Captain, we take our place among the stars. The Galactic Concord has invited Earth to be a founding member. We'll be sharing technology, culture, knowledge. It's everything we ever dreamed of and more. As if on cue, a shimmering portal opened in the center of the gathering. Through it, Chen could see glimpses of wonders beyond imagination, vast Dyson spheres harnessing the power of suns, worlds transformed into galaxy-spanning supercomputers, and things so alien she couldn't begin to comprehend them. This, Admiral Zhang said softly, is just the beginning. Chen turned to her crew, Raj, Maria, Yuki, seeing in their eyes the same mix of awe, excitement, and trepidation that she felt. They had left Earth as explorers and returned as the harbingers of a new age. As they stepped towards the portal, towards humanity's unimaginable future, Chen felt a familiar presence. A swirl of quantum energy coalesced beside her, taking on a vaguely luminary shape. "Zelix," she whispered. The being didn't speak, but Chen felt a wave of warmth, gratitude, and encouragement wash over her. The luminary, it seemed, would be with them on this new journey. With a deep breath, Captain Sarah Chen took her first step into the portal, leading humanity into a future bright with the light of 1 billion suns and endless possibility. As the Horizon's crew vanished into the shimmering gateway, the assembled aliens watched in reverent silence. In that moment, it was clear to all that the universe would never be the same. The age of isolation was over. The cosmic renaissance had begun. And at its heart stood humanity, young, brash, and full of boundless potential, ready to take its place among the stars.